just take a little. I feel like I'll take the fruit punch instead or something because just eh? Yeah, something because of the water. Yes, we live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Yes. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Sorry for the late start. I know we said 7 p.m., but unfortunately, you know how things happen with respect to Trini living, Trini life. Let's just say, right? So we're about to begin dream interpretations. That was the topic I know that we will schedule to deal with this afternoon. Now, before we go any further, I know we have to first debunk what everyone actually knows about dream interpretation or dreams on the whole. Now tell me if it is that you're all willing to share, what one person could probably say they think a dream is. If anybody wants to say, tell me. Anybody? What you believe a dream is? Go ahead. The lady in the back. Okay, that's good. She said a message from God. That is good. That is good. Actually, that is great. That is actually the direction that we are about to head tonight. So those who are here, those who are looking on, like the video, share, let someone know that we are live, let someone know that we are online. And this is about to bless somebody's heart because when the Lord started downloading this for me, it was truly magnificent because what we really think about the dreams that we have is not as we think it is. A lot of the things in the spirit does not reflect the same meaning physically. So we would go first based on what we know the logic of a dream to be, right? And Google has it as a dream to the logic world is a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in one's mind when they fall asleep. Now, we have to kind of recalibrate the minds of those who are here and those who are online, actually, to get to the important part of what we desire to deal with respect to the dreams. So, dreams come in three forms. There could be others, but I'll mention these three main ones that we normally have as human beings. The first one, our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is actually where you probably would have interacted during the day. You would have seen a person pass by that you haven't seen in a while. And when you fall asleep at night, you might dream that same person, or you may see yourself in a similar sort of environment with them. And that would be something subconscious. So it happened. So your mind recorded it. So as you fall asleep, it now comes into play in your mind, right? Subconscious. The other one is from your soul. Your soul, when we have something called soulish dreams could come from a place whereby you desire something so bad. You want something so much. You're determined to have it that you actually provoke your soul to start dreaming about this very thing that you want. And I'm sure somewhere along the lines, one of us probably would have gone through that already. Right? So that is the second one. And the third one, in which we would actually be focusing on, is actually dreams being messages from God. Now, The devil don't give you no dreams, because at the end of the day, he doesn't want you to know his plans. And for anybody that may be online, for those that may be on or they might listen after on Facebook or on YouTube, even if you're listening in the background and you don't want me to see your name pop up that you're listening, even that as well, even you, yes, you as well, right? So you cannot speak about dreams and not speak about God, because it is actually the language that God uses to communicate to us on earth. But the thing about it, just as how Spanish is a language, French is a language, Dutch is a language, there is also a language in the dream world, whereby not every Tom, Dick, and Harry has the interpretation of what it means. God is so mysterious. He will show you a message, and yet still you have to decode the message of what it means. And a lot of our life, I would say, derails, for want of a better term, because we don't pay close attention to our dreams. Had it not been that I did not pay close attention to my dreams, I may not have been here today. Because there were times when God showed me things and the same day it happened. I'm sure that probably happened to somebody already, whereby something that they saw in a dream and they could say, hey, I dreamt this, and it happened. Some of it is to actually save our lives. So now, mind you, cars, trains, airplane, bus, we know these things to be in the physical realm. But in the spiritual realm, in the dream world, that is significant of your life. It is actually a significance of it means where your life is heading. For each mode of transport you see, it will tell the speed by which you will get to the destination of where you need to get to. So sometimes you might dream and you're driving a car, and you're driving the car and you're wondering, but where I get this car from? Or if it is that you don't drive normally, but you see yourself driving a car in a dream, it actually shows you maneuvering your life. So that kind of gives you a directive as to what it means now. So we start decoding now the language of the spirit, bringing it into the physical, meaning that a car in the dream world means that it is your life it is speaking about. When you get up and you see the car, you know the car represents my life. The train represents my life. The airplane represents my life. Airplanes being the highest mode of life, the speed in which your life would get to where it needs to get to in the spirit. So bringing it into physical, it means that wherever you need to get to in life, if you see yourself on an airplane, you're going to get there with speed. But the thing is, it's what you do about it. Most of us, when we get dreams, we just think it's just a dream. And some of us wondering why it is I dreamed this thing so long and it's not coming to pass. It's because we never did anything about it. That is why sometimes when people set things for you spiritually, this is just a basis before we actually get into where we need to get to. When people set things for you, such as spiritual wickedness, when people they visit all type of altars on your behalf or on behalf of your family or whoever, you may get certain dreams that reflect it. And you would know, based on the emotions that you feel when you get up, you will know in your spirit that something is wrong. But because you continue and you do nothing about it, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks after, you hear somebody die in your family. But when you go back and you remember that dream that you had, you recognize that that dream was trying to tell you something, but you didn't do anything about it. Right? You're all looking at me pensive, like, really? Like, yes, very true. So you know now that when you see certain things, immediately, I would share it. One of the things that should be dealt with, especially when you know it's not a subconscious dream or a dream of the soul. When you get up, you will know if it is a message, the language that God is trying to communicate to you to let you know what is going on. If you see something bad, people deal with it. If you see something good, capture it and ask God to protect it. Because look at Joseph. Joseph had a dream, didn't know what it means. He couldn't have interpreted properly. And went and told his mother and father, brothers and all of them. Look what happened to Joseph. He ended up in a pit. But they didn't see the bigger vision. They didn't see the bigger picture. Right? So, because he saw his future, and his future was he was going to reign over them. They didn't want that to happen. But they didn't know that it was for their own good to protect their future. So your dreams as well is something you have to be very careful who you tell, especially if the person probably has the gift of interpretation and you don't know. Because along with the gift of interpretation could come jealousy. And that could put you in a serious position. Because it now means they could take all manner of things spiritually. And that dream that you see in the motherland, as I call it, because once it is conceived in the spirit, it's either it gives birth or it's aborted. Either it what? Either it what? Either it gives birth or it's aborted. It depends on what you do with it. Right? So we're going to get into where we actually wanted to go, which was with respect to relationships, with respect to marriages, with respect to marital delay, things of that nature. Because a lot of persons get dreams concerning the relationship that they may be in and they overlook it. They get dreams concerning their marriage and they overlook it. And they get dreams as well concerning marital delay. And they don't know that they are actually seeing, right? So the first part that we're going to deal with is with respect to relationships, right? Now, I know, well, I could say for myself, I wouldn't speak for anybody else that is here. I know I have been in relationships that I was not supposed to be in, right? So, nevertheless, God in his infinite grace and mercy, he got me out. And, through it, you learn life lessons. So, the first part with respect to relationships, you may have dreamt yourself, you're in a relationship with someone, and you saw yourself in a shoe, and you're walking in the shoe, but the shoe a bit tight for you. The shoe tight on your feet, and you're uncomfortable in it. While shoes might mean shoes in the physical, shoes represent marriage or relationships in the case of if you're not married yet, in the spirit, in the dream world. So if it is that you see yourself in a tight shoes and you're not yet married, the God that loves you so much is trying to tell you something. It's not for you. And sometimes that is one of the hardest things that we should I say, the hardest thing to accept, especially if it's someone that we consider, if it's someone that we believe that we love, letting go would be very difficult, right? Facing reality. But what I want to say is, if it is you see yourself in a shoe and that shoe is too tight for you, it means that God is trying to tell you that that person is not the person that I made for you. Right? Unfortunately so. And more than 10 times over, he will start telling you. There are other things that signify relationships in the dream world and in the realm of the spirit. But as we go along, I will continue to reveal them bit by bit. But tonight we're going to deal with the shoes. Right? So if you see yourself in a shoe and that shoe tight or that shoe dirty, and you see yourself walking through mud in that shoe, in that dream, and you're wondering what you're doing in this dirty mud, that woman, that man is not your own. That man right there is not your own. Right? So, that's the difficult circumstance, I would say, with respect to relationships, dealing with aspects of dreams, So now you have an idea as of tonight. If you are married here and you see yourself in a shoe, right? It means that your marriage is already there, but we're going to deal with the part of the marriage. We're going to deal first with the relationship, right? So if it's dirty, if it's tight, if it's too big, unfortunately so. Philip, wow, an abundance of wisdom. Good night, Philippa. We welcome you. We welcome you. We bless God. So, Philippa, if it is that you would have seen yourself in a shoe and that shoe was tight for you, or that shoe was too big, it didn't perfectly fit, and you were comfortable in it, run. Because if you don't run now, eventually you will start running, and you will see the reason why that shoe was tight, right? So even for the younger ones that are here, you all can listen now to know when you get a dream with a tight shoe, run. Run, right? So that is a significance with respect to relationships. So what I would say, there are persons that I would have communicated with that, they get certain dreams and they're not sure what it means. But sometimes when I do give them the interpretation of it, they don't want to face the reality of it, unfortunately so. And they might think it's just a dream, but give it a couple weeks. Actually, I wouldn't even say a couple weeks. Based on there are some things that, based on what the Lord has been showing me so far, there are some things that have time frames to come to pass in the physical realm. So as it is birthed in the mother realm, what we call the fourth dimension. So the spiritual realm, another term for it is the fourth dimension, right? So if you probably don't have writing pad to write this now, you can probably go back, look at it, and take the notes. So what I will do, I would make available some stuff that you will be able to start writing, so that as you get the dreams and as you get the coding from me, that you're able to now know. You can even try the spirit. Ask God if what is coming out of Evangelist Esther's mouth, if it is truth. Ask God about it. Try the spirit if you don't believe. So it will actually now start building, just as if you were learning French, you were learning Spanish. So it's now that you are learning the language of the spirit, right? So it will now help you to be able to better navigate life. I know I'm a product of it. So this is why I'm even sitting here, even trying to share this information with other people with what God gave me, and it worked for me so far, right? So shoes, relationships, it's too tight, run. It's too big, run. It's dirty, run. It fit good, it fit nice, and it's sparkling. So I'm going to deal with two aspects as well that will help you as well if you see it moving forward from tonight. Because what I think that you all should do is pray. After you go home and you get this bulk of information, pray and ask God to really open you up to be able to see and put into action some of the things that we would have discussed tonight, right? So, colors. If that shoe is white, it's good. If that shoe is white and you see it's sparkling and it fits well, it is good. If that shoe is purple, it is good. Actually, it is great, because purple is the highest color in the dream world, in the spiritual realm. Purple is the highest color. Once you dream and you see anything purple, we're not even speaking marriage only in this aspect. If you see a purple car, if you see a purple airplane, it tells you something great is coming for you. But the thing is, what you're going to do when you see there's something great coming is what would actually secure it to come to pass, because this could also be about it as well. Not because it's good, it means it will come to pass, right? So, purple is the highest color as well in the realm of the spirit. So that's concerning relationships. So let's move to marriage. right? So with respect to marriage and the dreams that you may have concerning your marriage, this is for the married folks. If you see a glass like this, all right, Kenya, thanks. Big up, Kenya. All right, Kenya, thanks. If you see a glass like this, and the glass is whole, the glass is well mannered, well nourished, this glass is a representation as well of your marriage. You realize the material of it? It's glass. It is a representation of your marriage. Once you see that glass, and that glass is in good tip-top shape, clear and sparkling as well, clean, things are well, yes. But the maintenance of things being well would always be prayer. The thing about relationships is, and marriage, well, marriages, because if you're in a relationship, well, although some people are in relationships and their goal is not marriage, let's just face the reality of that. Not so? I'm sure we probably know one or two persons who probably in relationships and their intention is not to marry, right? But the rule of thumb in life is if you're in a relationship, is to get married or to eventually for it to lead to marriage. Some people try to do this marriage thing without acknowledging God in it. When God Himself put the Lord Jesus and ourselves, the bride, for those who are Christians, as a representation of a marriage. So when you stand before the pastor, and the pastor stand up with his Bible and, dearly beloved, we are joined here today to, that pastor is a representation of God Himself, bringing together the man who is supposed to be the representation of Christ, and the woman, which is supposed to be the representation of the church. So, but physically, a lot of us, women and men, look at it as the white dress. The people who you're inviting 150 people to come, you're looking to see who come, and you're looking to see who ain't come, to know who you're locking off after they ain't come to your wedding. Right? But it is way higher and more deeper, more spiritual than that. And the moment that is lost, the goal behind what marriage is about, there is a purpose behind it. And if the purpose is not there, love alone will not be able to sustain this, because we can't eat love. You could eat love? You could eat love? You could eat love? Michelle, you could eat love? Okay, I can't eat love. Right? I can't eat love. Right? So there is a purpose behind what the marriage is supposed to be about. And there is a purpose that God Himself would reveal as to what is the purpose He desired to get out of the marriage. And if that marriage no longer, or if it did before, serves the purpose by which God desired to get out of it, guess what happens? Anybody want to guess? Not even just haywire. Before divorce comes, there is a path that leads to divorce. Now, as someone who sits in a lot of divorce matters, I see a lot of craziness, right? And to be honest with you, because of we will have to draft legal documents for divorce, right? And if it is, I use this as an example. While drafting these documents, it tells the story for you. So it actually, if it is someone of a legal mind, you actually see where problems began, where it led to the marriage being broken down irretrievably. Right? So there is that's on the physical part of things. But there is a measure of grace that God gives to a marriage, if it is from Him. If it's not from Him, to be left to be the God, and the truth is, He wants no part with it. You know, the pastor again stand and he said, "What God puts together, let no man put asunder." What if God didn't put it together? That is a question that a lot of persons who may be going through circumstances need to ask themselves. Right? Now, for me, as someone who God has not taken down that direction as yet with respect to marriage, a lot of the things that the Holy Spirit has downloaded in me has allowed me to be able to help even married people. I don't even know how it does come, but it does come. But it's only afterwards I understand that it could only be God and God alone. Right? So, once the grace of God has departed, what happens is either that man walks or that woman walks. But I'm surely telling you, the person that walks is the person that starts waking up from the sleep that they were in. It is the person that starts finding themselves that actually gets to that point to say, you know what? I don't think God created me to suffer for the sake of I do. Now, I respect the people who, there are people who do not believe in divorce, right? I respect them. But as for me, and the amount of things that I've seen, if you have to get out with your life. And don't get out in a coffin, right? So if you see this glass in your dream as a married woman, and this glass is broken, have anybody here ever picked up a broken glass and put it back together? Nope. Never pick up broken glass and put it back together. As long as you see a kitchen utensil in your dream, a glass, a plate, and that plate is dropped and it breaks, and you're married, you're sleeping beside the person immediately. As much as you saw it in the mother realm, you saw it in the fourth dimension, in the spiritual realm, as much as you see it there, it is possible to abort what was conceived before it actually comes into the physical. Even though you saw the plate break in the spirit, it shows that something is gearing up itself to come. Right? So you're looking at me area again. They're taking it in. Okay, you're looking at me with big eyes. So the plate, if that plate is broken and you see that plate in a dream. Now, people who are single, do not wait until you are married to get this information. If you wait until you're married to get this information, you may get it when it is too late. So if you are getting it now and you are married, it can now be put into place whereby if you see these things, you remember, get up, get on your knees and pray. Don't go back and sleep, because that is what the enemy wants you to do. Go back and sleep. So that the 72-hour span, there is 72 hours for certain things to manifest. You have 72 hours to deal with these things, some of these things, or else you would see it. Right? So this is things that you have to catch, you have to track before it actually comes into this world. Any kitchen utensil broken, that represents your marriage. A bed sheet, and that bed sheet is white, it's clean, bless God. Maintain that too. And you all know if you're married, how you should maintain it. But if that bed sheet is dirty in your dream, should I go further? Continue? Go on. If that bed sheet is dirty, beloved, Unfortunately, I can normally, right? Normally, I'm not somebody that just put water in my mouth to say anything. But for this one, I will let it down easy because not everyone could take the full brunt of things when coming to speaking about a marriage and something that they invested in. Because when you're speaking of marriage, it's something that you invested time, you invested money, you invested years of your life. Right? But as I said, if it is that you spent years making a mistake, it wouldn't make sense to spend the rest of your life making that mistake because you spent so much time making it. But as I said, it takes a really strong mind to get up from that place. So if that bed sheet is dirty, it is either somebody would have stepped out of the marriage already, whether male or female, or it is actually on the horizon to come. You could deny it. You could deny it. But what I will say is not that you didn't have the information. It's not that God is not now trying to use Evangelist Esther to build your dream vocabulary, your dream dictionary, so that when you see certain things, you now know what it means. And well, we haven't done the solutions yet and how to actually deal with them, right? But I'm giving you all now first the meanings of things. So this will be the beginning of building your Spanish of the spiritual realm, or your French of the spiritual realm, or even your English, I can say, of your spiritual realm. So what you are learning now in this series is like, I mean, for the humble mind, you could think of it as a class. A Spanish class that you would go to learn Spanish, but now you're learning about how you're capturing things that's supposed to happen in your life for it to be able to manifest, and how you're also capturing the bad to ensure that it's broken down so that it doesn't manifest in the physical, right? So that you know the direction you're able to walk now. I mean, it was a lot for me. Why I mean it's a lot for me? For someone who carries so intimately things with respect to dreams, I had no choice but to delve deep into God for God to be able to grant me access to these things. But now that I have it, I wouldn't hold on to it because I want other people to be able to get help. Right? So, am I boring you all, or you all good? All right. So, if the bed sheet dirty, I want, but woman, let me speak to the woman tonight. Jesus. Let's deal with the woman, right? Because I know we can get in our emotions. I know we can get in our emotion, especially now that you all know what it means. Hey, hear this one. We do. Amen. You're right. So, because you know now what it means, if you go home tonight and you get a dirty bed sheet dream, ladies, I beg, oh, as I said that, I forgot to share the link with my Nigerian people. Oh my gosh. I got caught up in it. Right? So let me see if I can share and talk it and share this and talk at the same time. If you do get a dream, now that you have the information, and you get a dream of the dirty bed sheet, because if you think about it physically and you're somebody who is inclined with scripture, right, with respect to marriages, you know the word that God speaks about the marriage bed is undefiled. So if you see the white bed sheet, that will signify the undefiled. So whereby now, in turn, so that it will make more sense to you, if you see it dirty, you see now the on move from in front of the defile, and now, well, I guess the defile, right? So, okay, they might have to catch the playback. So that is two items that you can look at with respect to your marriages. Glass, plate, these type of kitchen items, if they're in good tack, or if they are broken. Because as I said, some of these things you can't put back together, and that is just the harsh reality of life, right? There are some of these things that you really this it has people trying to crazy glue this. I mean, I broke one of this, not so, can you? I guess that's probably what God probably was trying to tell me. So use this as an example. There are people that see this broken glass, know it is broken, but for hell, they wouldn't shovel it up and throw it in the bin. And by the time they reach at my office, it's because it's too late. But what I want to say is, crazy glue cannot fix this. There is something that God is trying to tell you. If the grace of God has already departed, you could try 99 times. But here what? If you get it on the 100th time, walk on the 100th time. If it means for your life's sake. Right? So, you all could shake up a little bit. You all are a little tense. You all want some popcorn? you all have a feeling, right? You all have a feeling a bit tense. Hey, Brenda? Brenda Lumpris. Oh, Minister Brenda, good night, good night. How are you? All right, so that is with respect to marriages. So we're moving forward. You all with me? You all with me?
Yeah.
The third element that we're going to deal with, marital delay. Marital delay. So we deal with the beginning of the relationship. We deal with the actual marriage. Now we're going to deal with marital delay. Now, if you look at the, should I say, the lineage of where we went with this tonight, it actually went with the direction of what single and cultivated and married is about. Because it started single, and the goal is, as being a part of this community, if you begin single, that you end up married. Well, if that is your intentions, because there are actually, as I said, people as well who do not want to be married. But if that doesn't mitigate the fact that, they could be a part of the community still. So, marital delay. Now, this is a sort of sensitive topic in which we will discuss, because it comes from a sensitive, it will come from a sensitive place for some people and persons who probably online now, or persons who may listen to this afterwards. So, marital delay can come in many forms, and it can come from many things, right? So, the marital delay aspect can be two parts. One thing I will give you all one aspect of what can happen to you that can provoke marital delay. And if you do get married, things tend not to work out too well for you with respect to that, right? So take, for instance, if you are having a dream, and in this dream, someone is having sex with you. You are actually having sex as if this thing playing out real life. But the person that you are having sex with in the dream, whether you know them or you don't know them, it is demonic. Whether it's your husband, your dad on top of you, but he lying down beside you, unless that man on top of you physically, or that woman, either way, if it's not physical and it is spiritual and it is in a dream, it is demonic. Now, the thing about this is, I can speak about this in the aspect of both marital delay and marriage, because there are people who are married who actually have visitation from these spirits that come to them. Right? They may not speak about it, but it is a real thing. It is a real thing. Now, there is something called spiritual legality. Spiritual legality actually gives the spirit, well, quote unquote, he feels as if he has the authority to come in. And the authority to come in could come from either way. It can come from any direction with respect to what I'm about to discuss. If it is that your family, you may not know, you may not know, right? Because there are things that happen way far before that we even came upon the face of this earth, right? And if it is that your family has altars within the family that you don't know about, if it is that there is a shrine that mommy or daddy used to go and feed, or if there is a spirit that they would have offered you unto. And when I mean offer you unto, what happens is sometimes the person who is the firstborn in the family, the firstborn does see a lot of trouble, craziness, and they're not understanding, why am I seeing so much hardship in life? What exactly is going on as to why I can't move forward? Not knowing that your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, whomever, had an altar in the family in which you were dedicated unto, and you didn't know. You did not know. So all sorts of things is happening in your life, including marital delay. Because what now happens, just as how I spoke about the pastor standing up as God, and you all with me?
Yes.
Yes, yes? All right, good. So, just as the pastor I showed you stand up and he is the representation of God, and the marriage between man and woman is the significance of the Lord Jesus and the bride, the church. So too, when they put you married to an altar or a spirit that is attached to an altar, it now means that you are now married to that spirit. So Satan, who thinks that he is the God of this world, is who stood as witness to invoke that spiritual marriage as to why it is taking long for it to come into the physical. Catch me?
Yeah.
So because someone has a whole life in the fourth dimension, because someone has a whole life in the realm of the spirit, it now means that for them to actually live a good marital life in the physical becomes difficult because of the altar they were offered onto. Right? Well, I guess the next time you all come, you will walk with a writing pan. Right? So the hard part about this is many people are going along and they are living life and not knowing this information, or not even knowing that they were dedicated to an altar. But the thing is, if someone were to identify the fruits of their life, if you look at everybody else getting to move on in life, something happening for them. But for some reason, you, John Public, cannot move. You try to go left, it's as if a chain is around you and it just tries to pull you back. You try to go this direction, a chain around you, it pulls you back. That is the altar that is crying out your name every time you try to move forward. So that marital delay now actually in the physical is because you have a whole life taking place in the spirit. So when that man comes to have sex, or that woman comes to have sex, person thinks, woo, I had a time last night in my sleep. Check after that your finances, because they don't just come. Because you need to maintain that which is in the spirit, it has to draw it from somewhere. It has to come from somewhere. Remember, the rule of thumb for tonight is what is conceived in the fourth dimension must either give birth into this physical or it must be aborted. It all tells what you do, right? So this person coming and they sleeping with you as a single person, marital delay. This person coming and they sleeping with you as a married person, craziness in the marriage. You're all arguing for foolishness, little small things, all kind of things arising, and you're not sure why it's arising. But you wouldn't remember that you would have had sexual elements in your dream, probably in the form of your husband, probably in the form of someone else. But nevertheless, as long as the act took place, it is highly demonic and it comes after your life in the physical. So there are solutions that of things that has to be done as well for somebody who would have gone through this, who would have experienced it. I mean, it's a process, but it takes someone who is determined in their mind to see their life move forward in the physical, to divorce that whole life in the spirit. If you dream as well and you're always seeing yourself by the side, you always stand up by the sea or by a riverside and you're wondering, what am I doing by the seaside or what am I doing by the river? Continuously, probably twice, 3 times for the week. You stand up by the sea, you stand up by the river, like if you in Tobago and Strawberry Beach. Nope. Spiritual spouse is the person in which I'm referring to. It is he or she who comes when the sexual engagement is taking place, and it is he or she is who you are waiting on if you are standing by the seaside or if you are standing by the riverside. It is God trying to tell you there is something that is taking place in the fourth dimension that you need to take control of. Now, if I were to give your mind a greater understanding for the fourth dimension, in that dimension is where everything takes place, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. So even though God releases your blessing of marriage from heaven, it passes through angelic realm. That's a whole other teaching that is not connected to dream interpretation. It passes through to get to the spiritual realm. Once it gets to the spiritual realm, God will notify you by a way of dream. Now, if it is you do nothing about it, there would be war in that realm, that fourth dimension, for that blessing of marriage, because it now means that the spiritual husband has to go back to the pit of hell where he come from in order for you to move forward with your life. Right? And that is where the war starts taking place. So I guess even from this information, you always start praying a bit different if you recognize certain things taking place in your life. So, with respect to that, if it is you're by the seaside and let's say you're in the water, but you're breathing in the water while swimming, you're underneath there and you need no oxygen in this dream. None. You turn fish. Right? But you also meet, let's say, a man or a woman below there. I'm sure somebody would have heard of the mermaid spirit. This is an actual real thing. For who don't want to believe it, okay, fine. I cannot force it down your throat. But these are real things. Right? So as a married person, it causes things in the marriage to try and break up the marriage so that they have you back for themselves. As a person who is single, they bring forth marital delay so that they could continue having a hold on you in the fourth dimension. So, with that being said, if you're in the water and this person visiting you and you're seeing, if you're seeing children in the spiritual realm and you don't have kids, demonic. If you're seeing a whole man and you want to know who is this man that keeps standing up with these children, that is the spiritual husband or the spiritual wife, and they're holding hands with a child, that's your spiritual child. So that will also now bring problems for a woman to conceive in the physical because she has children in the spirit that needs to be maintained. You all catching? Following? So I know this information probably new to your minds, right? But stay with me, we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. Because it's a lot of things now that you will have to go back in your mind and start considering and reconsidering. Because it now happens where if if you happen to bypass and you get married, sometimes your husband suffers untimely death or almost dies. He either suffers untimely death or almost dies. That is the work of that spirit. He puts that into place so that he can take back his place. So that is why some women and men, you get married, boom. After a year and a half or so, something happens. He come and he gets sick, or she come and she gets sick very bad, and you're not sure why. The unseen, the unseen realm is at work, right? So that is with respect to the spiritual spouse aspect of things. It is a real thing. Whether you want to accept it or not, you are getting the information. It is now up to you all what you do when you gain the information. So that is from the aspect of dealing with spiritual spouse and marital delay. So as I said, there are solutions, but it all now determines what you do. And we haven't spoke, as I said, about solutions just yet. So one other, I'm going to deal with one other one for marital delay before we actually move forward. Now, this part I believe is the touchy part, and that is persons who were abused, persons who were molested, whether they were molested as a child, their mate was taken from them without their permission, or they got raped as they were older. What happens is these actions of violation open certain doors spiritually. Remember, one of the things we spoke of is spiritual legality, right? Somebody could call Kenya for me, please. I just tell him, thanks. So, abuse, molestation, rape, incest, things of this nature. These are elements that open a particular door, I would say, whereby these spirits now gain a hold. It not only causes marital delay, but there is also a spirit of unattractiveness that follows certain persons based on the, I would say, it's the department, the spiritual department in which it came from. That is what will determine if the spiritual unattractiveness would come along with the marital delay. Right? So you're looking at me as like the boogeyman again. Right? So someone who was abused sexually, they also face a measure of marital delay. But the thing is, as I said, they will not have this information or they will not know. And also, just as with the spiritual spouse, if they actually get past the bar and become married, earthquake, building shake. Thank you. Earthquake, building shake. You know what that means? Turbulence. Right? So they would not know that it is actually these elements that. So tonight we kind of dig in the dirt. And for those that would listen this online, for those that are here in our own mind, in our own personal, because this is what SACCAM is about. In order for us to move forward, we first got to dig some graves. If it is that someone is single and their desire is to be married, but they have been single for a while, but they have no identification as to their singleness, but their desire is to be married, you have to first identify what could be the problem. Good night. Good night. Good night, Miss George. Thanks for joining us. You must first identify what is the problem. If I do desire marriage, if I desire to be settled in my own family and it's not coming after however long, there is an identification of an underlying problem that the eyes cannot see. But it now takes someone who is determined to put the solution into practice. I mean, it had to have a good kind of bad mind. There is a good kind of bad mind. And the good kind of bad mind means you had enough of my life, time for me to move forward. Time for me to move forward, right? That is a good type of bad mind. So if it is, they had take somebody and they carry them and they put them on a shrine and they watch this live tonight. Or somebody here personally in your mind, you're probably going through as you're hearing the information. You know now, time to take back your life. So, abuse, molestation, seeing yourself by the river, if you're also seeing yourself in a dream with the as a person who went through abuse or molestation, if you're actually seeing your offender coming back in your dreams as well, that is also an element concerning the marital delay that needs to be dealt with. Also an ex. I didn't have this to mention tonight, but it's at the tip of my tongue, so I would mention it. Right? So if you are also seeing an ex, somebody who you and them done long time. I mean, you and Jason, you ain't see Jason in years, right? Frederica gone so long, she gone in the States and live, but she showing up in your dreams, and she coming with a ring. That is one ring you need to refuse. Because if I start to speak about covenants made in dreams, we could be here for a whole other hour, and we have food to eat, right? But covenants are also made in dream. We are here today because of a covenant that was made in a dream. When God visited Abraham, not to get too spiritual on you all, but it will actually show you the understanding of how deep the valley of the river of your dreams run. Abraham was in a dream and made a covenant with God. As to why we are here today, that is why we are called the father of all faith. We are called the children of Abraham. It was in a dream Abraham was. So it shows you, if you pay close attention to what the language of God is saying, because things in the physical earth does not mean the same thing in the unseen realm. You now have to take time out to learn the language if you want to see your life move forward. That's just the plain talk, point blank. If you're in a marriage, let's speak. We spoke of marital delay, but let me just mention this one item. If it is you're in a marriage, whether it is you're in there 25 years or not, mean business. But if you're in a marriage from the beginning, you may not have this information prior, but you're getting it now. You know, I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I was letting them know, here's what. Give that marriage a span of 3 years. And if your assessment after 3 years, there is no growth, which there is supposed to be fruitfulness. Because when God blessed Adam and Eve, the first marriage we can even know of as an example, he told them and Eve, go forth and multiply, not so? So there is supposed to be a measure of multiplication in the midst of the marriage. Now, as a woman or as a man, you would know if there is multiplication. Because that person is supposed to pour into you, you are supposed to pour into that person. And if you are pouring into that person and that person is not pouring into you, guess what? Eventually your gaslight will come on. Right? And when your gaslight come on, it will be only so far that car would be able to go. See how it links back to what I was saying? Car signifying your life. So it now shows where the marriage after 3 years, if you give a span of 3 years and you sit and you put down pros, cons, what have we accomplished? What have I accomplished separately? What has she accomplished separately? What has been taking place? Thereafter, if your answers are in the negative, it is now time to sit with him or her whom you stood in your nice little white pretty dress or your nice little tuxedo and have a conversation about moving forward. Whether it is a mental moving forward, a growth, or a spiritual upliftment. Or because it could only be that the multiplication will take place physically after one, two person decide to level up mentally. If there's no growth here, the growth cannot come in the physical. Right? So that is the three elements that we dealt with tonight: relationships, marriage, and marital delay. So that three is what we covered, but in dream interpretations, and I think that now, this being the first one, we have enough information tonight that you can now start building your dream dictionary. I mean, it's only the beginning. And from here on out, it will now take each person to really tune in, because we're going to be doing these live every Friday. So that persons will be able, not that all of them will be connected to dreams, but we will do dream interpretation so that you all will be able to better maneuver life, right? With respect to where that is concerned. So, you all enjoyed? Y'all enjoyed? Amen. Right. Glad to know you all enjoyed it. So, since we had so much information on dreams tonight, we have a giveaway. We have a giveaway, right? And with this giveaway, what I would like someone, here's what we will do. You could raise if you remember a song with the word dream in it, or you can make up your own rendition. Or you can make up your own rendition. Go ahead. So which one you are choosing? Your own rendition, or you remember a song with dreams in it? I listen it. You have what? Hum it. I'll take a chorus. I'll take a chorus. I'll take a chorus. One line? So you watching this whole thing get here? And one line. If somebody online, anybody online, I would mail. Oh yes, I would give away all the blessing. If anybody online, I will add somebody to this live to sing, and I would mail it to them. I would mail it. It would be embarrassing. But so, I would mail it if somebody could. I will let them join the live. Miss George, you have a song? Connect with us, Miss George. Come on, Miss George. I'm rooting for you more than those that are inside here. You have a song? Nobody have a song. A song with the word. You have a song? All right, come true. Let me hear you. You don't want to come on camera? All right, well, come and stand up right here, like close by right here. She doesn't want to come on camera. One line? All right, come and start right here. You don't have to come on camera. So nobody know a song with dream in it? Eh? No cheating. No cheating. No cheating. Rowana, look, Rowana will bring you in on this live if you have a no, but she. Rowana, what song you have? Let me hear. Rowana, what's your song? All right, sing in the meantime. Let me hear. Let me hear. Let me hear your one line. This is a dream. Hey now, this is a dream. Hey now, this is what dreams are made of. Hey now, this is what dreams. That's the whole chorus. Come to think of it, I'm not going to say you know your win. You know why? Because that is the whole chorus. You asked God for this? Hey, all right, give her a clap. Well, at least come, even though you don't come all the way on camera, just come right here. So she's come, or she wins. So because she won her gift, she don't mind coming on camera now, people of God. Hey! Right? So, my dear, yes. You won tonight's dream interpretation gift. And I want to present this to you. You have new equipment to go home and try out. Amen. Mwah! Give her a round. So right. Rowana, she win it. All right, so she won her gift. Right. So we covered that part. So we have one more announcement, and it is the surprise that I told you all about. So that surprise is I, Esther Hadassah, by God's grace, have officially wrote a book on dream interpretations of relationships, marriages, and marital delays. Thank you all so much. So, as single and cultivated goes forth, God has been giving me these downloads to be able to help persons as they maneuver life. This book will be available in the next coming days on Amazon eBooks. So I thank God for that. And Miss Maria calling me in the middle of the live. Let's see what she's saying. Miss Maria? I can't connect you to dream. Oh my gosh, she called for her prize. You all here now? Miss Maria, you all need to give her a clap. She called. You try to get in. Don't worry. Next time we will have the live where you could call and win them out inside our here. Right? Because they're right in here and everybody turning and watching the other. But should I? You're watching them. All right, she coming for her prize the next time. Right? So one lady, she won it. So I will remember you as well. So for the next time around. My lady called for her prize. She said she's trying to connect and she cannot connect. Curly Roger said she can't wait. What she can't wait for? The next one? The next prize? We will have to have a segment where persons able to call in so that they could win prizes as well. My lady, call my hot phone. Eh? You hear me? Right. Right? So, this dream interpretation book, or for those who would have heard the announcement, the even though we didn't get a chance to cover the solutions, and there is so much more that we didn't get the solutions. I know. But the solutions are in the book. The solutions are in the book as to how it flowed for each one. Time to do. So, um, in the book has solutions as well with respect to um, what we discussed. Actually, the book has way more than we discussed tonight, right? The book has a lot. So in a couple days, those that are online, yes, oh, the surprise. Well, that was the surprise, Colleen Rogers. My mother, the night my mommy, that was it. Not even her knows that I wrote this book. So it actually was only released to everybody, to John public tonight. So I've been doing it in secret, and it's officially so Amazon ebook in a couple days it will be published. Thank you. All glory and honor unto God. And for those who have heard online, you can message me, you can call me if you have my number, and um, I will send the link to you when it's officially published on the ebook. But it is fully written, it is uploaded already. It is just for the access for you all to be able to purchase, read it. And there is also a part in it where, as you get your dreams, you can record them and relate it back to what the actual interpretation is in the front of it. So as you write the dream, if you were somebody that you never recorded your dreams before, start recording them. Start recording them. And if you are interested in purchasing the book, you can record it in the book and also look at the interpretations in the book as well. Right? So for those as well online who heard, you all can message me, call if you have my number with respect to gaining the book. Good night, Miss Henry. Good night, Julissa. That's my cousin. So it was nice. So that was the surprise. And we gave out our prize. And now we are about to close. It was so nice having you all. I am really delighted that we were able to even kickstart this. So next Friday we're going to be live again. I am going to try to go live a bit more often during the week. Lord Jesus, help me. But on a Friday, officially, we will be having these live. Eventually, we will open the audience to the public. It's not open to the public yet. It is only specially invited guests thus far. But when I mean open to the public, it still would be via a guest list. It still would be via, thank you, Minister Brenda. It still would be via a guest list, but at least more persons who may be online and maybe nearby where we are, who decide to come in and sit with us, eat with us while we eat and teach. Now we're about to eat because we have finished teaching. We have eats and drinks to go and mingle with. Our Friday night is about to turn up after we have just finished learning. So I thank you all so much online for joining me. Thank you for those who looked out for it, those who actually can glean from this information. And I thank you as well to you all who are here. Right? So, oh, nice. So, eventually, don't worry, for those that want to come in, who want to be a part of the live audience, soon. Give us time. We just begun. Right? So lovely having you all. You all have a good night. May God bless you all. Keep you all. Remember to be safe as well, if you are interested in giving, if you were blessed tonight by the information that was shared and what God is about to do with Single and Cultivated, the giving information is also attached to the live that you can actually give to, whether you're local or international, and you were blessed by the information, you can give as your heart so desire, right? So you all have a good night, and may I hope this finds you well. For those who haven't heard it yet, and for those who are there, let it be so. It is well with you. Have a good night.